So with everything going on, all the talk about going to war with Syria and Russia, and all the rhetoric being tossed around, and all of our politicians just seem so eager to thrust us into another world war. I don't understand the logic behind it. We've been at war since 2001, longest ranging war known to us, to America. We invaded Afghanistan after 9/11, and then we invaded Iraq. I took part in that. I was in the Marine Corps from 2005 to 2009. I wanted to be a Marine since I was a little kid. 9/11 was kind of the booster for all that. And we went to war in Iraq based on a lie. We were told that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. And that's what we went to war over. Now, another thing that most people don't know, or just don't care to know, is Saddam Hussein was a CIA asset. He worked for the Central Intelligence Agency. He was a pawn. He did what we told him to do to a certain extent. Keep that in mind. So we go to war in Iraq, and I spent my time over there. I was in Fallujah in 06, 07, and then again in 08, Ramadi, Haditha, Syrian border, Iranian border, you fucking name it. I was in a heavy weapons platoon. Basically drove around in Humvees till we got blown up or shot at. So I know what it looks like. I know what the Middle East is like. Most people don't. They've never been over there. Most people have never seen what war really looks like up close and personal. It's not pretty. That being said, this country, America, we have adopted the position of regime change over the last 15 years. We ousted Saddam, and look at the power vacuum that created. And then we go into Libya and we oust Gaddafi, and look at the power vacuum that created. And now, George Soros, Hillary Clinton, and all those fucking losers fund the Arab Spring and start a civil war in Syria. And now we're talking about going to World War with Russia and all. Just a huge fucking mess. And again, we are being edged on by the neocons, by Republicans, by the blue blood Republicans, by people on the left, to go to war in Syria and Russia. A world war. That will be a world war. And what is the pretense for us going to war again? That Bashar al-Assad used chemical weapons. Now, something that I want you to think about. About this time last year, he supposedly used chemical weapons, right? And Trump launched all those Tomahawk cruise missiles to that airbase in retaliation for it, right? We had no proof, none whatsoever, that it was the Assad regime. None whatsoever. That didn't stop us from firing off tons of missiles. And I do believe the UN actually came out later and stated that there was, that it was not Assad's regime that launched those attacks, that it was ISIS-funded rebels. ISIS was created by Obama, John McCain, Cy Hirsch, a very well-renowned, I do believe he's won a Pulitzer Prize or something like that, journalist, said that, that wasn't Assad. So here we are again, and just days after the U.S. announces that we're going to pull out of Syria, and then Russia announces that they're going to pull out of Syria, and this goes back to the agreement that was made in 2013, I believe it was, with the U.S. military and Russia. Basically, our military gave Obama the bird and said, we're not going to be ISIS's air force. We're not going to continue to support ISIS. And made a deal with Russia that they would stabilize the region, we would defeat ISIS, and then we would pull out. And we've been going along with that so far. And Russia has been an ally in kicking ISIS's ass. And so has Syria and Assad. And another, fact that's left out of the equation is before all this shit happened in Syria, it was a pretty peaceful place. Christians weren't being murdered and persecuted, genocided. There wasn't the genocide of Muslims going on there, because people forget you've got two classes of Muslims, Sunnis and Shiites, and they're constantly waging war against each other. And Assad, I'm not defending him, but bad leader, good leader, whatever you want to call him, there was stability in Syria. Christians were allowed to be Christians. Jews were allowed to be Jews. Muslims were allowed to be Muslims. And you weren't persecuted for your faith. And that doesn't happen very often in the Middle East. And obviously our global elites didn't like that. So they started a fucking war. So, back to my main point. Days after the U.S. announces that they're going to pull out of Syria, and then Russia announces that they're going to pull out of Syria, Assad gasses his own people. Really? Really? What benefit does that give him? What does that do for him? How does that help his cause? The whole world's looking at Syria. The whole world. How does it benefit Assad to gas his own people just days after the United States announces they're going to pull their troops out, and then Russia announces that they're going to pull most of their troops out? How does that benefit Assad? How? I don't know. But apparently, that doesn't matter. That question is not being asked. Our politicians are all about war. Let's go. Let's send our boys to war again. It's not the politicians' kids who go to war. It's not the president's kids who go to war. You know who it is? It's the middle class. It's the poor people's kids. I didn't come from a rich, wealthy family. Most of the people I knew in the military didn't come from a rich, wealthy family. So, it's not the politicians' kids who go to war. It's not. It's the middle class, the poor people. We're the ones that fight the fucking wars. We're the ones that do the dying. So, I just don't get why everybody is so eager to get us into another fucking world war. It doesn't make any sense to me. General Mattis, Secretary of Defense, was asked 2 times here in the last couple days, if we have absolute proof that Assad committed these atrocities. And both times he has said, no, we do not have the evidence yet to prove who did this. But yet we're willing to go to fucking world war over it? We're willing to risk the lives of millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And maybe there's something more going on behind the scenes that you or I don't know, or there's something in the background playing, going on that we don't know about. Maybe this is all just talk. Trump and Putin are talking behind the scenes. There really will be no war. This is just part of a plan to force the elite to show their hand, to force the deep state to show their hand. Part of this QAnon stuff. Maybe this is just a big ploy to get the real bad guys to show themselves. And I hope for mankind's sake that it is. But ask yourself, if you're a parent and you have a son or a daughter that's of the age of 18 or older, or if you yourself are 18 or older, ask yourself if you're ready to go to war. If you're ready to send your sons and daughters to war. Ask yourself. Ask yourself that question. Think about it. Because if we go to war in Syria, you bet your fucking ass it's going to turn into a world war. And you can bet your fucking ass it's going to turn into a nuclear war. And you can bet your ass that there will be weapons of mass destruction used. And millions of people will die. So ask yourself, if you're of the age of 18 or older, are you ready to die? If you're a parent, are you ready to send your children to die? Because mark my words, people will die. They will. And if we have a world war, guess what, buddy? There's going to be a fucking draft. So whether you want to or not, some of you will go. I support my president 100%. 100%. And if we end up going to war, even if I agree with it or not, you can bet your ass I'll be signing back up to go do my part. Back in my flak jacket, pumping my 240. So I love my country. But we really need to have a debate about this. We need to seriously have a debate. We need to look at the evidence before we rush off and send the world into war. So I just want everybody to think about that. Think about it. Think about it long and hard. War does solve some problems, whether you believe that or not. It does. But right now, what we need is peace and to just fucking love your fellow man. All this fucking hate that's out there needs to stop. Needs to stop. Especially here in America. This whole, black-white thing, racist shit. Doesn't matter what color your skin is. We're all fucking Americans. We all bleed red blood. We're all humans. All of us. Put your differences aside. And let's come together as one nation. One people. Regardless of skin color. Why does skin color even have to play a fact in this? Why is it even an issue? They say in the Marine Corps, in Full Metal Jacket, Harley Army, there is no racism in the Corps. Here you are all equally worthless. I don't mean to say that everybody's worthless, but I'm just saying we're all the same. We're all people. We're all humans. We all have our vices. We all sin. None of us are perfect. We're not. We're human. We're flawed. But it's time that we stop this fucking fighting and hating each other and name calling and this and that. Just for once, can we not come together and stand together as one nation? Can we not heal this country first before we go around fucking shit up everywhere else? Bring our boys home. That's why I voted for Trump. Because he said he was not going to do this shit. No more of this regime change. No more of these endless, pointless foreign wars for the global elite and the rich bankers. No more. No more of this shit. Bring our boys home. Let's rebuild this country. We have a failing infrastructure. Country's in tons of debt. Got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of homeless veterans on the streets. Let's do something for our vets. Let's do something for the people that live here in this country, that pay taxes here in this country. Let's fix this country first. Then we can talk about maybe being the world police. We've got to stop this bickering and fighting amongst ourselves. Get rid of these terms, Democrats, Republicans, liberals. Throw all that shit out the window. Because when the shit really hits the fan, it don't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican or a liberal or libertarian or whatever. If you're not ready for it, your ass is going to be grass. And half you people out there aren't ready for it. Half you people out there don't have more than 3 days worth of food in your house. Don't have enough drinking water to last you a week. You might have some guns, good for you if you do. You might have some gold or some silver, good for you if you do. You might have some storable food and some water filtration systems, good for you if you do. But half the country doesn't. So just ask yourself if you're ready to go into a world war. Just ask yourself. Think about it long and hard. And if you're not, well, then let your voice be heard. Call your congressman, call your senator, call the White House, call C-SPAN. Tell them we don't want to go to fucking war. Let the Middle East take care of the fucking Middle East. Let's focus on fixing America, making America great again. I don't care what your skin color is. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what your political views are. We are all Americans. We all bleed red blood. We should all support our fellow man and take care of our fellow man. The golden rule. Do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. So, I leave you with that. I know I probably rambled on, got off topic a few times, but just, I don't want to see any more of my brothers or sisters killed over some fucking bullshit. Don't. Lost too many friends to this kind of shit. So Dick Cheney can make a couple million extra dollars so that the Rothschilds can establish their banking systems in all these countries, take over foreign nations. So George Soros, Nazi collaborator, can topple countries. We don't need to lose any more of our boys over that shit. We don't. So, I urge you to search your soul, look deep down inside, and ask yourself if we're doing the right thing. So, with that, I leave you. God bless everybody. Love everybody. No matter what your skin color is, we all bleed red blood. We're all humans.